It will detect if it is a wild animal or a domestic animal. And if it is a wild animal, it will immediately alert the forest ranger. Fine. So in so clean and clear, you are able to spot out each of the animals. Fine. If the model is given such a simple image, it can detect. Can someone tell me is what are the images there, or at least the count of the images? It's quite difficult, right? Because we have so many. They are being cluttered one among the other. They're so clumsy, right? So if the model, if the animal monitoring system happens to see, then definitely the system is going to fail, because needs. So this is the problem with the existing systems. While they were able to detect the animals in this image, they are not able to fine scale it. Count as how many elephants are in this image. How many elephants?
5.
5.
Five. Perfect, perfect. So there is 3 big elephants and 2 small elephants. Has around 5 elephants, and the same if you're going to test it with a model, while you took around 10 to 12 seconds to answer, if animal monitor will say it in nanoseconds of time. Fine. And if this image is given, can you spot the number of elephants? It is very difficult for case with machines also. Although the machines are developed with 99.99 accuracy, when you're going to give such an image, say for example, this image has around 100 elephants, but the machine might tell you that there are only 80 elephants, because there are few challenges in this. The challenges is that the animals are so cluttered. See, like here, in this particular portion, I cannot see as how many elephants are here. The same will be the case. So while developing, you have to take into account the clutteredness challenge. Okay, so that is the second challenge. And going on to the third image, problem with animal monitoring system. You see, you have 2 animals over here, 1 and 2. Out of these 2, one is a dog. And someone tell me which is a dog and which is a fox? Dog, and one of the animal, rest of the animal is a. I want. This is the answer what I get whenever I ask the people, but unfortunately, like a dog happens to be a fox, and the second one, which looks to be a dog, is actually a fox. Okay, so this is what we called as in two different animals are looking together. They're looking similar. Similarly, we have other examples like a black panther and a black cat. They might look right. A black cat is not going to harm you, whereas a black panther will definitely attack you. So, what if the model that you developed, but what if it detects a wild animal as a domestic animal? Definitely. So this is what is called as intra-class variation. Okay, so this is yet another challenge for the AI models. Okay, coming on all different types of cat. And see, in the previous case, although one is a dog, one is a fox, they look similar, but in the next, they look totally different. You see the difference between that? Okay, this one is called as intra-class variation. Okay, they all belong to one particular. This one, it looks a bit of cheetah, right? But then sit on your lap and it will look so gigantic. You can Google it and see. This is called a savanna cat. Okay, so this is actually sometimes the model may misidentify this animal as a cheetah. Okay, so that is one other challenge. And of the places where animals are put in danger. Okay, so definitely we know that animal vehicle collision, AVC, is one of the primary reasons, because nowadays the roads are in between the forest, so we drive so fast and animal gets hit. Okay, so pathetic. So this is one danger, and this is one other area where we need a proper animal monitoring system. So whenever there is an animal that's going to happen to places, the animal monitoring system should be okay. In this case, they don't have to say if the animal that is crossing is a cow or a dog, no matter wild animal or a domestic animal. Okay, now you see the type changes in the previous cases and all. While we're doing this exam, to detect the type of the animal, like the species of the animal. Okay, if it is a dog, you can just let go, let not inform the forest ranger. Need to inform the forest ranger. Okay, whereas in this case, on the roads, you don't have to detect the type of the animal. It's enough to say that there is some might be. Okay, so here the task is something about detection. You just need to detect where on the road is enough. Okay, dangerous human animal conflict. Okay, so when a human enters elephant or when an animal enters a village or some residential area, in both the cases, the end result is going to be very pathetic. Human will be affected or the animal, or in case some cases both might lose their life. Okay, so these are very so you have to understand the complexity or the severity in such applications. Like these are involving the life of both humans. Even if you develop an accuracy of 99.99, it's not sufficient because the model that you code is totally, the simulation model is right. So these two are the major areas where animals are in danger. The first one is animal vehicle collision, and the next one is system was not able to find scale. I have automated system in recent days. Let's take one sample case study. So this is one data set called snapshot sharing. 7.1 million images of different animals. 7.1 million images, and this were captured in a span of 6 months. And to capture this big data set, they used around 200 camera traps. Okay, camera in home, right? The same kind of camera if it is attached on a tree. Okay, so that if it is in the building, we say it as surveillance camera. If it is on a tree, say what it does is when an animal passes alone, the camera trap will capture the image of the animal. Kind of disturbance. Fine. Okay, so that particular camera, the camera, what it will do is it will capture the image of an animal. Okay, so this is what is called as a camera trap. So they used around camera traps actually work on the basis of a sensor. Okay, so normally the temperature in the air is very low, but then for a human or the based on this difference, when the camera trap senses some high body temperature, it will capture a image. So when an animal will detect there is a difference in the temperature, so it will capture the image. Okay, so in such way, with 200 camera about 6 months. Okay, so the same image, the same data set, Serengeti data set, and they started manually labeling. As in this image we have a tiger, we have, as you said in the first image, like there is an elephant, there is a giraffe. Manually every human were given this task to mark the animals and to name it off. Okay, so this was given as a manual system. On the other hand, artificial intelligence based model was developed and the same system was trained. Okay, you see the stats over here. It took around 8 completely label all the images. And I tell you what, out of the 7.1 million images, only 3.21 million images, the rest of the images were empty frames. Okay, there was no images. Okay, might be for the camera trap was wrong to sense and it captured images to work with. It took around 8.4 years to manually label the animals in the images. And you see, like 20,000 hours, and the accuracy came out to be same system. It was not just 3.2 million images, but for the automated system, we gave the complete 7.1 million images. To detect that these many images are empty frame, they discarded and they took only the 3.2 million images for itself. They trained, and for the training with 3 days, just 2 to 3 days. And if you want to identify an animal in the image, it takes not even a nanosecond. And you see the ND accuracy in 3%. Okay, now you might understand the role of a citizen scientist. Okay, the manual system is actually, their role is that only. So when a new animal or a new plant, new fish, new worm, new plants, whatever it might be, when something new is found, the people responsible to identify is citizen scientist. Okay, so the snapshot Serengeti data set was completely labeled by citizens. Show you how that was done. Okay, this is the dashboard of the snapshot Serengeti data set. You see here they have given an image. This image was taken, but then can you say us how many zebras are there? Can someone, how many zebras are in this image? Zebras that is in this image. Okay, someone has put it in the chat, 3. Yeah. There is a conflict, right? There is 3, there is 4. If you're asking me, I would say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This. Okay, so see, though it is not very difficult to tell the animal, but then we are struggling to say the count right. So that is the problem. It. And you see, the task was not just to tell what type of animal it is. You have to tell, if you could see this side, you should tell us what it is, what horn does it have, excuse me, tail, the body build, and the standing, eating, whatnot. Okay, everything you have to say. And now you will know as why it took 8.4 years to label the 3.2. Waste of time and human effort. And the same system, the same data set, when given to a perfectly developed AI system, it. So this is why we are moving to AI systems in comparison to man. Now moving on to the next one. So we're talking about animal as where and which applications we have to give focus for the animals. The first one being said already, human animal conflict. The humans. Okay, the second one is animal vehicle collision. Again, we can't restrict the animals to move on the road, so we have to save the animals before being there. One is livestock monitoring. Okay, listen carefully. This is very interesting application. Okay, so we might have this cow shed at our homes. Okay, so in our place, the maximum number of cows that we might have, okay, it might be 550 or 100. Okay, the most I've seen to up to 2 has, and the shed will be very small. That's how the scenario is in India. But in the case of stations, they say it as cattle stations over there. And you know what? The equivalent to 13 football grounds. Can you imagine? One football ground itself has such a large area, but then the size of 13 football grounds. Okay, in such a big cattle stations, there are lakhs and lakhs of cows. Okay, a rancher do the cattling? Can they do that one, like farming and moving them from place to place? That's not so. And besides that, uh, um, that cattle station is away from the city. take the animal to a hospital or for fodder or for whatnot, you have. So it's so there needs to be a planning all time. Okay, so there needs to be enough fodder for the animals, enough, and you already need to have a prediction that this might happen. I need to stock up all this. Okay, so that is the case there in Switzerland. Like that cases, a manual or a human cannot take care of the cattle all alone. Okay, I'll show you a video shortly. Robots. Okay, they are called as robot ranchers, swampot. Different robots are already being developed, and these robots taking care of all the lakhs and lakhs of cows. And what the owner does is he'll just come once in a week or twice in a week, just take care, just look. Okay, that is what the farmers are actually doing. But then except apart from that, every other jobs are done by the robots itself. Okay. Species, definitely we know. Earlier, what we do is we'll go and take manual surveys, like we'll manually go and take the count of animals in the forest. Equipped drones that can automatically count and detect the number of elephants over a given area. And the fifth one, very, very important. Definitely we cannot control, as a human we cannot always keep track of the poachers that are coming into the forest. So again, in this place, we embedded systems to stop poaching. And the sixth one, last one is citizen scientist. As I told you in the previous, it is not possible for a human or a citizen scientist to manually do the task. Okay, so in all these places, we need a, okay, can help in saving the biodiversity. Okay, you could read that. Detecting, recognizing, keeping track of the wild animals, and they can this way, while they are able to keep track of the animals, while they are able to continue, they can prevent the animals from being endangered. Okay, for that we have AI enabled devices, a well equipped monitoring system. Everything is AI enabled. I'll show you one video. This video just tells you us how a AI robot can task what a human has to do. Like if you want to go and do a survey with lions, you cannot go in person, but then you can develop an robot and you can send it to that. It will do the task for you. And this video explains that. Can someone tell me if you could hear the audio?
It's not
No,
audible.
madam.
Is the audio clear? Not audible to you, I hope. Uh, Audio is not working. Okay. For nothing much to talk about that, just the music background and all. I hope what you got from that video, I think the idea is clear for you. Like Beetle Cam. So earlier we had a version 1 which was a flop, and now they have come up with a better version wherein in the last scene you saw, right, the tigers or some animals, they took off that, they ran with that cam itself. Like how much ever they are going to throw tap on by itself, move around again, take the camera, take the pictures. Like see how close they were to the animals while they're capturing the images. So these kind we need. So we are taking the help of AI robots to do that one. Okay, so that is one. The next one in areas like if you want to conserve the animal species, what are the things that is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, it is audible.
Okay, so now we are talking about animal conservation. So there are three things is you have to detect the animal and keep a count of the animal. Okay, so every time we cannot go and take a forest survey. So when you're done with for 1 month, if there is an accurate count, then we can know that these kind of animals, these set of animals are being endangered or something. So the first main aspect counting. Okay, so here in the below you have an image where the elephants are captured from aerial view. Sorry, I think it's a horse or some kind of animal. They are captured from aerial view. Okay, so when it comes to counting, we usually prefer. You could see that we have AI enabled robots animals and they can make a count of it, and every animal has its own body temperature, and they have some unique features, and they keep track of these robots or the drones can fly upon by themselves. They can walk around for around 30 minutes, take myself, and then go back and do the this ones and all. Okay, so this is how the detection and counting processes are done. So for some large, you can use the satellite images, so that would be better option. But for smaller images, satellite images are not going to work because the as and when you increase the very small. So for such cases, we'll go for terrestrial views. So this is one example what I was talking about. Again, forgive me, you may not know, you have subtitles here. So this particular one, which looks like a cycle or something, that is the one. This is the cattle station. So this cattle station has for this image they have just around some 100 can very efficiently herd the cattle. It does by itself, and you can see it here. Okay. Okay. Where you could see a robot very efficiently herding the cattle and developed a few years back, and now we have still more efficient robots that can sense if an animal is sick or not with the thermal camera. when there's a temperature changes in the body, then they can very easily detect. Besides, they also check if there is enough pasture for the animals to herd to feed. Like with that again with the sensor, enough grasses in the floor in the soil or not. Okay, so such way also these robots can take very heavy needs. A human cannot take it by all by himself for 100 cows and all. That's beyond difficult. So for such things, this robot again can do. So everything for what a cattle station requires. Okay, so this is again a robot, AI enabled robot for efficient cattle stations. Detecting the animals, we need to detect the presence of a poachers as well, because every time you keep counting, and if there is some count, you'll just know that there is some endangered species or some animals have dead. But then it's to be a proactive for us to detect poachers or some other foreign objects in the forest. Okay, so that is one other important area. And for this things, because visible cameras means RGB cameras, the normal cameras what we use in day to day life. So they are color based. Efficient light source, without a proper light source, the visible cameras cannot capture the images properly. Even though be very blank, they'll be very dark, so you cannot identify if a person is there or not. Okay, so for such cases we usually, so this thermal cameras works on the principle of body temperature. Again I tell you, like what it does is so based on the body temperature, having a higher body temperature than the rest of the environment. So in the night time, when the surrounding is cool, the temperature is going to be very normal. But for humans, so the normal images will be very black, but when there is a presence of human, he'll be highlighted in a white color. Okay, so that's some ghost like images. So detect the presence of an human in night times. Okay, so this thermal cameras are normally used in night and very low. So because if the sun is going to be very soaring, the rest of the environment will get heated up, and that's going to affect the detection part. Normal color cameras are used for daytime. For the night time, we usually opt thermal cameras. Okay, so that's how the poachers done. Poacher identify the waste materials in the oceans. Although we were talking only about the human-animal conflict and animal-vehicle collision, portion of animals over there. So how they one one popular way is by dumping the waste materials in the ocean. So we enjoy the beaches over there, which is causing a severe damage to all the marine life. Okay, so again, once again, we have AI enabled drones and robots efficiently detect these litters. You could see the image over here, the output. See, there is some row. They are able to see, they are able to spot, not only spot, they're able to tell us what kind of litter it is, right? So this is waste materials in the ocean. There are not many AI enabled robots doing it, because the problem with this is maybe 10 type of litter in the ocean, not possible, right? There's going to be thousand litters that will be available in the ocean. So they are able to do some partial work. I'll show you that video again. So this is my last video for you. you might not this because AI-based drone very clearly detect the presence of litters in. But then there are other cases in the land areas and all, in terrestrial areas and all, the robots can pick it by themselves. So in this particular ocean, it's where the litters are. That's all. Okay. So, but then the manual thing has to be the picking up the litters has to be done manually. But this is the ocean litters. Fine. So now said all that, we have seen three different scenarios wherein animals are sure. At the end of the meeting, I'll put in the chat box. Okay. Okay. So one was like detecting and counting the AI robots, and the second one was to in case of oceans, and one other thing was to detect the poachers with thermal cameras. Kind of applications along with the tools that would be very efficient. Okay, since the starting of the my many challenges, which is why the accuracy is not coming up good. Okay, although your code is able to produce 99.9, apply it in real time, the accuracy is going to drop very drastically, and that is because these models are not taking into these set of challenges. Okay, because with the code is what they do is they take the open source code or the neural networks what is available already, just put in their data set and then train. Fine. So we have to understand, okay, say for example, there is a data set called AlexNet, which was originally trained on ImageNet data set. Okay, now you can consider lots and lots of categories. Not only animals, they have right from bat, ball, apple, orange, everything. Every kind of classes are included. They can detect anything from A to Z. But then when you are going to develop an application or a model for any that you are explicitly designing your network, because these are all real time, it's life threatening. Okay, so when the accuracy drops an animal accurately on time, then there's going to be a mishap. Fine. So these are the challenges that you need to consider while you're going to develop your. Show you with a pictorial representation, else you may not understand. The first one is interclass similarity, intra-class variance. Example, what we saw, a dog and a fox is the example of the first one. Okay, so they both belong to two different. The next one is intra-class variance. Intra-class means one single class. Okay, the cat example. They are of varied types. We had many variants. Like we had around 6 types. That's just a small count. Okay. Two challenges. And the third one is camouflage. Okay, you might know this chameleon, which changes its skin texture according to the environment it is. Okay. That for marine is octopus. So you could go and Google it. So this octopus is that has the best of the camouflage features. Color, everything according to the surrounding where it is. Okay, so these kind of animals, when the see now if you want to capture a chameleon and if it is standing on a, it's getting camouflaged and your model may not detect it. So these factors you have to consider. And the fourth one is or robot based cameras. So the temperature or the climatic condition is not going to be always the same. Sure, the images has to be pre-processed accordingly. And again, the case of poor illumination in night time or in evening times, the illumination is going to be the light. Sixth one is too close and too far images. As I showed you in the snapshot Serengeti data set, okay, there was some animal, only the fur was shown there because it is camera trap. The animals are not going to come in front of you and pose to you. They'll just run in a fraction second. The camera trap has to capture the image. So you may not always expect a full body of the animal to be there. Okay, close so that the part of the body is not there, or too far so that you cannot see what kind of animal is over there. Like the dogs, while a model you're training with only the dogs that are standing, and if you're going to test a model with the dog which is sitting, dumping your data set, you have to ensure that all types, be it standing, sitting, or in different colors. Like the cows itself, we have the varied colors, right? Like black thing. So pose variations and the color texture variations, everything, the data set has to be balanced with all respect. And the eighth one is blurred images. That's very common. And the ninth one is images taken during night time. As I told you, with a color camera, you cannot expect a proper source. So here's the images for you. First one is an example of huge interclass similarity, wherein both are two different animals. Okay, but they look almost similar, right? One is a eland and another similar. Okay, so the next one is uh, it's actually wild beast. Both are wild beast, but you see here, and this one is actually a wild beast looking, right? So you see here, although they both are of same type of animal, they look totally different. This is another challenge. Okay, with respect to this particular two challenges, what you have to do is you have to pick up the discriminators, and that too multi-discriminative features. In that case, you can avoid this problems or not. Okay, and the next case is self-occlusion. You see here, occlusion. So self-occlusion means the animal is hiding itself, not unintentionally. Okay, in this case, the animal is showing its back post self-occluded. Half of the body is not sure, it's not seen in the image. So this is what we call as. And the next one is over illumination, as here is a figure, and here another one is a poor illumination with a cluttered background. You could hardly see there is a cat. This is like almost looks like a savanna cat. Okay, so these different types which looks almost similar causes the major problem with respect to animal detection problem. We hardly know that these animals will be looking so similar, but then when you start working on this project, you will get to know that there are many type of animals that look almost similar. A very drastic fluctuation in your accuracies and all. Fine. And the next one is camouflage. Okay, here these are all artificial camouflage. Octopus or this chameleons and all. Okay, you see here is a deer over here, a gazelle, which is artificially standing there. And here is an example of a dog, and here is an example of cat. Okay, now you might argue with me that these images, these animals are so clear to my for humans, but for animals, they will look for the textures only. Oh, look, the texture looks so similar. Okay, which means one of the important good accuracy, then you can very confidently deploy it in real. One is too close and too far. Is a wild beast which has come too close to the camera, and that's why half of the image, the animal is too far away from the actual camera. So however, my model was able to detect that animal as a aardvark. And these are some of the challenges you see here. The first one is an example of pose variation. Could you even imagine a lion posing such way? Detect. And here there is a blurred image. There is actually an animal that is running so fast, but still the camera trap has captured it in a swift blur. And here something that is taken in the night times, CNTR. Fine. So these were all the challenges that are terrestrial view, like from the ground level. In the another hand, on the other hand, when you're going to take the images from aerial view, aerial point of view, like from satellite, the challenges are going to be some other way. Okay, the target object size, the shadows, overlapping or connected, occlusion, color contrast. Okay, so I'll just show you. Could see here actually, there is actually, if you could see very closely, there is two cows over here. You could hardly see that. And this is an zoomed view, and this is the actual aerial images. You see, most of the models were not able to detect that there is color. In aerial data sets and all, the size of the pixels is going to be very small, as small as pixel. An elephant is going to be shown in 6 pixel size. Could you even imagine an elephant of 6 pixel size? And that is where you have to identify that elephant. Next one is smaller target size. Again, there are 3 different animals over here, 3 different elephants. When captured, okay, you could see the zoomed view. See, there is one here. These 3 are smaller targets. Fine. And the next one is shadows. Shadows is a very predominant problem in case of animals are going to walk on the sand in the afternoon time, noon time. The shadows are predominant. Okay. This has to be taken into account. Okay. Already pre-trained model and run this data set, and you will have results like this. See, the shadows are actually detected as a true positive. So accordingly, you have to choose your technique. So in this case, what one option is to take the heat maps of the elephants. Okay, in that really say that this is a shadow and this is an actual elephant. Okay, and the next one is connected components. You could see here in this image, there is actually a little elephant over there, but then that was not visible to the naked eye itself. Okay, so again, when the animals are going to be connected point of view, as I showed you in the second image where there were hundreds and hundreds of elephants, what you have to do is the first technique is to disconnect. Okay, these are some of the pre-processing or some major techniques that has to be employed when you're working on with animals. And one other thing is camouflage occlusions and all. Like there is an elephant under this bush. See, you could see the bush, it is actually occluded. But anyways, again, it has to be detected. Okay, that is one of the challenge. And then the elephant is walking on a area where it is almost similar to the color background. Then again, it is difficult to detect the elephants. So you see, in all previous case, one particular animal itself is by itself occluded to work on with as many limited features as you have. Okay, so the models has to be trained in that way. So do not please take a pre-trained model, dump your data, might yield you result, but when these models are going to be deployed in real time, it is going to affect the lives of human and animals. So let's have some deployed into animal conservation. We can definitely need this AI in place of traditional techniques, and for this AI in place, we need data set, because that's what I was telling you. All these days we had a large data set for ImageNet, like Coco, Microsoft. Those are all general data sets, but when you talk about specific data sets, there are not many, except for the snapshot Serengeti, which has 7.1 million images. Data sets are very small, as small as 1,000, 2,000 of images. Without the data set, we cannot develop models. Okay, so this is the presentation for the day. Okay, so that's all. Thank you. So to ask any questions if there is.
Yeah, thank you so much, madam, for giving a clear explanation. Missing the animals and what concern from here to artificial intelligence, and what are the main challenges accuracy when it coming to the real-time application. Presentation and explanation. Thank you so much for guiding us in this animal biodiversity conservation. Thank you so much.
Sir, yes, sir.
Madam,
Sir, yes, sir.
Government, can you send these PPTs to us?
Through the organizer.
Can I send it through?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sir.
Yes, madam, your voice.
I'll send it to Kiran.